is Daniel Brits, and what we have done here is duplicated or replicated as close as we possibly can the Safari portal itinerary builder. So as you can see here, looking very fresh, very clean, and we've got our scroll effect as well for this, which goes over to our next section, which is our travel brief, for example. And if clients need to scroll through the information, here we go, we've got our scroll effect over here for the overview of the travel brief, including all of the dates as well. Then next we can go over to the map, and from the map, this is not 100% accurate for this itinerary, but we can also move our pinpoints over here across the Africa map, and this is really simple and easy to do. And then a little bit further down, we've got our places that the clients are going to be staying at. And of course, we've got our links to the actual properties as well. And a little further down, just for demonstration purposes, we also have our FAQ section. This is, of course, called the pre-trip info for Madagascar. And there's all of our information that we need for this particular subject, so luggage and passports. And of course, we can add in whatever we need to this section. Next, I want to show you how easy it is to create these itineraries. So let's create what we call a new funnel. We're going to say create. Next, look at our saved sections. We'll go to universal sections. And from here, we can see these are universal sections. So first of all, we want to add in the brief right at the top. Then we'll say we want this one next, and we want this one next as well. There we go. Close that. Have a look at the layers. We're then able to move these around. So we want the cover page up front. Then we want possibly accommodation next and pre-trip info at the bottom. Now, the great thing is that if we change some information on this particular property over here, for example, so if I say conveniently located near Nairobi Airport, say, for example, we don't want to say Nairobi anymore, we want to just say the airport. We'll save that. I'm going to now preview this, and we can see now that this is literally just these three sections. So this is the brand new itinerary that we've created. And over here, we can see that it says the airport. Let's just edit that. It's telling us that section changes are made and that these changes will sync across other instances where the section is being used, because this is a universal section. I'll click save. This is the preview. We'll refresh this. And now we can see it just says the airport. Let's go and have a look at our original itinerary that we made. This one here. And we can see this one still says Nairobi Airport. Let's refresh this one. Nice and simple. There it is. The section has been updated. So if you've got multiple properties across multiple itineraries and you want to edit one of the properties, just edit it and the universal section will change across all of your itineraries so that it reflects the correct information everywhere. A very nice time saver. Alrighty, next we're going to have a look at forms, contacts, and notes, and everything that is associated with that. So we have created our Safari Planner online form and the guest information form as well. This is what that form looks like. Safari Planner form, capturing all the information and details, all in one place right over here. Information is all there. We've got our consent as well, which is GDPR compliant, and we've got our capture as well, our privacy policy and terms of service and terms and conditions. We can add in multiple options at the bottom over here. But let's have a look at the contact. And why is this so important? Simply because right here, if a contact fills in that form, all of your information will be right here. You'll be able to understand how many travelers there are. Come into this contact and have a look at all of this information right here. Really simple, nice and easy, all in one place. Okay. Then let's have a look at the contact information real quick. So over here, we can get the contact information, name, address, emails, phone numbers. We can even add in their date of birth here so that we can email them on their date of birth. All these kind of nice things that we can do as far as the contact goes, where the contact came from, any messages that you want to put in over here. All right. But where the magic actually happens is anything that is happening with this contact will be indicated over here. So if they had to fill in this form, you'd get a notification over here to say that the form has been completed, and we can move on to the next stage. On the top right over here, this is all of the activity for the client or the customer. Over here, we have all of our tasks. These are our tasks over here. So you can see, for example, this particular client, the passport is still pending, and we've got a due date over here as well. And what we'd be able to do is set up some automation. So we'll set up an email that will say, hey, dear Daniel, please can you fill in this form, the Safari Planner form, and at the same time send us your passport copy. We'll be able to do automations that we will be able to send out this particular email or this email nurturing to the client or to the customer every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. And if we still don't have it after we've sent them 5 emails, then we can increase the amount of times that we send them, so we can shorten it to every week, and just so that that is not sitting on your plate. But here we go. This is where we would be able to add all of our tasks. For example, if they have sent your passport, we can just come in here and we can just click that, and that then goes away. And of course, we've got our drop downs over here, so we can see everything that's been completed. Passport, we've got it. So all that we need to do is just have a look at our tasks over here for this particular customer, and we'll be able to see what is still pending for this customer. Over here, we have all of our notes, and under our notes, we can have a link to our OneDrive folder. We can also indicate information, all notes that we need about this particular trip or about this particular customer can be added in over here. Then next, we can have a look at what we call our pipeline, and we can edit this pipeline to look and feel and actually have headings as per however you would like this to be. But particularly this client, Daniel Brits, has been added to this pipeline, and he's in the beginning stage. So travel itinerary has been shared with him. He's had a look at it. They might then complete a form to say, yes, I'm interested, or not, or can just email and say, yes, I'm interested. And then we start sending them our Safari Planner from our email nurturing. And from there, we can also indicate whether the forms have been received. But we can actually just move Daniel over to this point over here. So for example, if he is in the completed Safari Planner form stage, we can just move him over here. Over here, we can then move him once we've got his guest information, once we've got the flight itineraries, and then right at the end, we've got our ready to travel option as well. What's really handy is right over here, we can see any conversations that we've had with this particular customer. Over here, we can see any of our notes that we have. So for example, Dan and Lynn are best friends, but we also have our link to our OneDrive. If you would like that, we can also connect our Google Drive as well over here. Then over here, we've got all of our tasks that are still pending. Diet and medical needs to still be checked out, and Safari Planner form. Now, the great thing about this is that we can create automations that email the particular customer every 2 weeks, every week, however you would like that to be, for them to fill in this information. So we can send them a link via email that links to for example, another form that looks like this. Once they've completed the particular task, we can just come in here and we can then edit it. So look at this, nice and easy. Tasks, we can add tasks. We can see which ones have been completed. We can also add the notes from here, if this will be easy. There's our OneDrive link. If we need that, we can add in any other notes that we want somebody to know about for this particular trip or this particular party or this particular customer. Any payments that they've been made can be recorded here. If we need to do any online appointments with them or bookings, we can add them over here. Nice and easy. Next, next, let's talk about notifications. So as a customer completes something, for example, a form or books an appointment with you, you would like to receive a notification that that has happened. And this is where we do it. We do it in what we call workflows. And we can see in this example over here that a customer has booked an appointment, but this we can change. We can change it to whether a customer has booked an appointment, or if we want to add in a different, what we call trigger, we can see all of these over here. So for example, we talked about birthdays earlier. When the customer's birthday arrives, we can send them a notification, or we can send them an email, which will be indicated over here. But for this particular example, I want to say that when a customer has booked an appointment or they filled in a form, so we're going to say a form has been submitted. We will then go ahead and we will choose that particular form. So the form that we want, we'll say form is, and we will then select it. So Safari Planner online form, that has been selected. Or we can also then add in the guest information form. We want to receive a notification if either one of these forms has been filled in. We can then say save trigger. So now I just want to add in here, but it's not very clear, it just says form submitted. So we're going to say, so form submitted is Safari Planner or guest information. There we go. Okay, let's save that. So now what's going to happen is that this workflow is going to be triggered anytime somebody creates an appointment, for example, and somebody fills in one of those forms, right? So how do we make sure that we get a notification? We'll click the little plus icon over here, and we're going to say we want send an internal notification. Nice and easy and simple. What type of notification would you like to receive? Email notification, a normal notification which goes through to the app. Others only want to receive an email notification. So we'll say email notification will be sent, and this is where we indicate what that email will say. And right at the bottom of here, we can say, hey, GS team, your customer filled in a new form. Then we can say who this contact is actually, and we can pull up what we call a custom value. So we'll go to contact, and we're going to say contact first name. Save that, the whole team, so all users. So that can be anybody that is connected to this account, part of the team, and we can say subject. All right, perfect. And if you wanted to, you can create an email template that you can send out. But I found that this type of email is just nice and easy for this type of notification. All right, next we're going to talk about marketing. Under marketing, we have our social planner. So you can connect all of these social accounts over here, and then you can plan out your social posting if you want to. Actually happens, we'll click on campaigns. We'll click on new. It's a visual drag and drop editor. All right, over here we can add in anything that we want. We can add in any of our social buttons that we would like to, and we can edit our social accounts over here. If you want to remove one, just remove it over here. If you want to add one in, then you can choose from the drop down option over here. Okay, next we're going to add in our footer. All right, over here you'd then edit your email address if you would like that. If you want this to be out, you can remove that, and you can say you want to change how you receive these emails. This is then connected to an unsubscribe option. It will then go to the contact, and it will create what they call a DND for email. DND stands for do not disturb. So even if you try and send that contact an email, it will skip that contact. Next, what we'll do is we'll click save, and then next we're going to say send or schedule. Now have a look at all of these options over here. On the right hand side, you can see what your email actually looks like. We can do a send now, or we can actually batch schedule this out. We can choose the time over here, and we can choose how many emails we want to send out. So say, for example, we've got 1,000 people 1,000 people in our contact list, what we recommend is always to do a batch quantity of around 5, and you want to send 5 emails out on average every 5 minutes or so, and we'll make this every 5 minutes. Okay, so 1,000 emails, that will take about a day and a half to send out. You can indicate the start time and the end time. You can then indicate the sender's email over here. So we would always say that this is the account email, which then defaults to location email. And we set up all of this in the back end for you. Sender's name, we will say GS, and you can edit your subject line over here. And over here is your preview text. So we've got a high conversion rate if you actually enter the contact's first name. Next, what we want to do is we want to send this to, we can choose which contacts we want to send this to. We can create what they call a smart list, but I really like this one, pre-built segments. And now we can choose the segment. The segment can be only engaged contacts in the last 7 days, last 30 days, last 60 days. Maybe you only want to send this to engaged contacts in the last 5 campaigns. So say now you're only sending 2 or 3 campaigns a year. You can then indicate that if they've been engaged and opened up an email, engaged means that they've opened up the email. You can send it in for the last 5 campaigns, for example. That is that. Always then save and then review and schedule. You can also, on the top right here, send a test email so you can have a look and see and make sure that your email looks good when you open it up. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to talk about calendars. Very, very exciting actually. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to add all of your staff members in over here. So at the moment, I'm the only staff member in here, but you would add your staff members. And the next what you want to do is come into calendars. You would select your staff over here. You'd then connect their calendars. So say, for example, one of your staff members prefers Google Calendar, the other one prefers Outlook, and the other one prefers iCloud, and maybe another member has Calendly. All right, so you can add a connection for every single staff member, and you can add their calendar over here. So you connect their calendar, and from that you can also then indicate how you want your meetings to be displayed. So like the location would be Google Meet, or it could be Zoom, or you could even choose Microsoft Teams. So you'd connect all of that over here. Nice and simple. You'd have one calendar that the whole team will be able to reference. You'll have a share link. It looks very, very similar to Calendly. And of course, you'd also be able to, a nice little feature that I like is that you'd be able to hide the event details. So the calendar will show only availability when both people or 3 people, all the team members are available in the calendar for somebody to book the calendar. You can also then set the time zone as well. All right, let's just highlight our media storage. So media storage, there is no limit to the amount of media that you can store here. We have a 5 megabyte upload or download limit. As long as the media is within that range, we can do videos, we can do images, we can do PDFs, we can do Excel spreadsheets. Let's have a look here. Created this checklist item over here. We've got an Excel spreadsheet in here as well. And we've also been able to connect Google Drive up here. So if you've got some sheets in Google Drive, then that can also be connected over here. Next, let's talk about our connection. So we can connect QuickBooks over here. And very nice and easy is our Facebook Messenger, so that any kind of direct messaging can come through the portal. And then you can receive an internal notification. We can set that up so that anytime somebody sends a notification via one of the socials, you actually have that in here. And then let's have a look at our payments. So payment integrations, there's a lot of integrations that we can do over here. But we also do have the option to send payment links if your payment device is connected here. We can also do invoicing and estimates from our payments section. If you have any documents or contracts that you need to do, we can also do that over here. Alrighty, thanks very much. Ciao for now.